Wait a minute. You like wrestling?
Of course I like wrestling. That's why I hate it. Outlaws.
Wrestling is better than the things you like.
Outlaws.
You'll take those rattlesnake fangs and you'll stick them right in my ass.
What?
Middle-aged. Outlaws.
Today I'm middle-aged.
Settle down, Adam. Settle down. It's episode 49 of the Middle-Aged Outlaws podcast. And we're going to Summerslam. Are you ready, Adam?
Yes. Yes.
Born ready. SummerSlam 1990 sounds miles better than what it was.
Some of it's fun.
Some of it is fun. Some of it is fun. Yeah, anyway, how are you? You good?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm excited. Episode 49. I think I said we were doing... I think last episode I said episode 49 as well. I'm obviously desperate to get to 50.
Okay.
Um,
Almost there.
so- almost there. And I'm excited. I have absolutely zero idea what you're going to pick for next episode because you've not teased me.
Yeah, I mean, some of that might be to do with how late in the day I actually left it before, deciding myself what I was going to go
Okay.
with. So, yeah.
Last time you went late in the day, I think you went SummerSlam 94 and we got Brett and Owen in the cage.
Yeah,
so-
that's right. Yeah. Let's see.
Sometimes it's that thing in a restaurant and you just say, I'm just going to go with a snap decision when the
Like-
person comes.
What I do is I get an idea in my head of something that I want to see again, then I have to think, what show was that on? I'll end up Googling it, and then I'll see something else, and I'll think, oh, wait a minute, and it, yeah.
God, you're describing my brain on a minute-to-minute basis. And before we jump into SummerSlam 90, do you want to very briefly touch on current events?
Can do.
Unbelievably, you watched an existing and a contemporary pay-per-view or a premium live event, as they're called
So-
these days.
So I think we should be fully honest and say I didn't watch the full event. So I watched some of it. I picked out matches that I wanted to watch. So
That's,
I did watch.
that's like a baby step.
Yeah. I watched Brock Lesnar against Bobby Lashley, which was quite entertaining. I've kind of felt a bit dropped into the story because when I've not been following, it's clearly these two, alpha males that they've got up against each other, and I quite like that. I think just now for Lesnar in particular, because I don't really want him anywhere near a world title picture. Just
Yeah.
occupy him some other way.
Like
And they
it's like
obviously-
playing that sort of special attraction that he
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah, and they're obviously. I was pleased to see how strong they want to keep Bobby Lashley, because
Yeah.
when I saw that was a match on the card, I was remembering. I think did Lashley eliminate Lesnar from the Rumble?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, they'll probably just have him destroy him or something like that. But I was pleasantly surprised by that because they made Bobby Lashley look very strong.
Yeah, I agree. I think even when he was champion, around maybe a couple of years ago, a year ago maybe, it was that kind of CM Punk champion where he's clearly not the biggest, best guy in the company, but he's... So I agree.
So yeah, watched that. I watched the men's elimination chamber match, which was very entertaining. Actually, enjoyed that. I think they probably spotlighted some performers that I wasn't all that aware of, but they
Like who?
entertained me. Now, Montez Ford, who I knew of as a tag team performer, but I can't say that I'd seen many matches involving
Okay.
him, to be honest. Very athletically impressive and charismatic, I would say.
Who's been telling you for years that Montez Ford should be singles champion?
Some
Anyone you know?
some guy that that ended up getting me back watching current events by feeding me information. But yeah, he was impressive, and he's like they always say, charisma is one of those things you can't teach. You just kind of have it. Some people have it, and it does seem like he has it. Who was the big fella?
Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of him at all.
Right. He was quite good though.
Yeah,
he was good in that. He played his part well. I think.
yeah.
He was
Yeah,
in NXT, and then they cut him. And he went to Japan,
okay.
and it's another one of Triple H's boys he's brought back.
I was glad to see a little bit of interaction that I found entertaining between Seth Rollins and Johnny Gargano. Just like between the two of them, I found that quite entertaining.
Good fun.
And I wasn't sure how they were kind of utilizing. I know he's been involved in the group story, but Damian Priest, who I hadn't. That story hasn't really grabbed me, and I think we touched on that when we were messaging that. I sort of chose not to watch the Edge Finn Balor match because I just don't feel invested in the story, and I know he'd been involved in that story as well, but I wasn't sure if he was still or kind of where he was in like the sort of pecking order within the WWE at the moment. I think some people can get a bit lost in the group. Yeah,
he looked good.
So yeah, enjoyed that match. Very just impressive spectacle, and it felt like much as they kept the belt on Austin Theory, they really spotlighted Montez Ford in particular, and I think they can just pick their time to actually go with him in a singles capacity.
His partner, is it Angelo Dawkins? He's stripped a bit of weight and he's looking real jacked, and he's been doing a lot of fancy stuff as well. Both of them look like they might do that thing where they have an amicable split and possibly both go their separate ways. They might do a draft or something like that, because they both look pretty good now.
And you can, if you need to, you can go back for a while. I mean, if you remember, like Brett and Anvil went back after Brett had a little bit of a singles mini push, because I don't know if they just decided he wasn't quite ready, but it didn't really do him any harm, in the long run. So yeah, doing it that way can leave things open.
Did you just compare Montez Ford to Bret Hart?
Not in that sense. He's quite a different style of performer, I would say. But
a lot more crotch chops.
There were probably an unnecessary amount of crotch chops.
I liked his people's elbow attempt with the wristband and all that. It was quite funny.
Yeah. So yeah, enjoyed that match, and I watched the Roman Reigns Sami Zayn match as well, which I like stories. I like long running storylines, and I wouldn't say I became invested to the point of following TV weekly or anything like that, but I did a little bit of research in terms of where we're at with the story, and it's such a difficult one from where you got to, I think, to get right, because Sami Zayn's so over, but I can see the sense in not putting the title on him. Because I think we know where they're going with Cody Rhodes, and that does make sense. And I think that was a real banana skin from a storyline point of view, is how do you sort of satisfy where you go with Sami while still being able to move Roman on to Cody. But yeah, I thought that they did it well enough. They kind of got away with it in a sense, where I think you can kind of predict where he goes next, but I'm hoping he doesn't just disappear way back down the card. I think that'd be a real misstep from the creative team.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. We've said that we'll watch WrestleMania, and we've said that we'll do an episode on WrestleMania. So sounds like you're a little bit invested.
Yeah,
because I think the last up to date WrestleMania we thought was not very much fun at all.
Yeah, that's right.
What was that? Roman, Edge, Daniel Bryan?
I think so, yeah.
That was not good. No. So, good to hear. Good to hear. Shall we jump in to Get the Time Machine? It's August 1990, back when you could call your best friend Tugster and not make people erupt into laughter. Hey, classic. We'll get into promos. I was going to say some classic Hogan promos on here, but if you like promos, SummerSlam 1990 is the show for you. But before we get into it, let's talk August 1990. So I've got some albums for you, Adam.
Right.
Blaze of Glory by Bon Jovi
Yeah.
was released. I think that I want to say that's their debut album. Perhaps not. I think it is. Bossa Nova by Pixies.
Oh, yes.
Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J.
Okay. Yep.
And I don't think I knew that was an album. I knew it was a single.
Yeah,
obviously, but-
I definitely had an album it was on, and I think that the album was called that, but maybe I had like a greatest hits or something like that.
Right, okay. So there we go. Some half decent albums, actually. Well,
Yeah.
Pixies was there. Some births, Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
You look less than impressed with that.
No, yep. Some people I struggle to put an age on. Okay, that's fine.
You got her?
Yep.
So what does that make her? 30?
Is it 10 years younger than me? So that'll
32,
be
33.
32, 33, yep.
Mario Balotelli was born in August 1990 as well.
Wow.
Film premiere. Why do I keep saying that? Film premiere. We had the Kevin Costner star in Dances with Wolves, which I want to say would be an award winner, possibly an Oscar winner.
Yeah.
Here comes your favourite part. The UK charts #1. I have no idea how to help you with this.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's
right.
It's not a traditional singer. Go on.
Oh no. I mean, Chesney Hawkes is a traditional singer, so well, yeah, I was gonna go with him.
I like that.
This
guy was a children's TV presenter, and he was a character. So it's the character that had the #1, not the person. But it's not like a cartoon or nothing like that. It's a guy, like Mr. Motivator or something like that.
It's not Mr. Blobby.
No, that was a Christmas #1.
Oh Jesus. Children's TV. Gordon the Gopher.
Wow, amazing! I love it. No, but I like it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I'm
You would wear it. You might wear it to the beach. In fact, Sapphire might wear it to the beach. And Dusty Roads.
I feel even more confused than I was before.
Imagine how emotion he would feel if he was wearing this to the beach. It's quite small, and it's the same colour as what Dusty wears. Come on, I've said too much. I'm not going to have to tell you.
Yeah, sorry.
It's an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
Oh, you did
by Timmy Mallet.
You really tried to help me out there.
Sweet Sapphire, she's wearing an itsy bitsy. No, I'm actually said that in the pay-per-view. He said everything else, but surprised Ted DiBiase didn't buy her one of them. I don't think that you'll get America. I have nothing I can tell you, but go for it. US chart #1, August 1990, 27th August 1990.
The Do the Bartman, The Simpsons.
Imagine that the best guess ever. Nah, it's not right, but it would have been amazing. Also sounds like something that Dusty Rhodes would say. If wishes came true by sweet sensation.
Okay. It's not really ringing any bells for me.
Nah, I can't even think what that is. I did listen to it when I wrote it down, but unfortunately, don't remember it. I'm sure we'll look that one up and do the Bartman to it. UK box office #1, classic, absolute classic.
Terminator 2.
Very close. Same main actor.
Oh no.
Well, I'll give you a clue.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was trying to think when was Predator, but that's 80s. Right, I think I'll need a clue. I feel like I definitely know that. Oh god damn it. Oh no. Oh no.
we've got to get to Mars.
To get to Mars. Oh, this all sounds really familiar. This is very upsetting.
There was a remake of it made with Colin Farrell and Kate Beckinsale and Jessica Biel.
Not sure if that'll help me out.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh,
2 words.
Total
Yes.
Recall.
Yes.
Total
Yes!
Recall. Of course. Yeah.
What a film that is.
Yeah.
If you ever
yeah.
find something red and flashing up your nose, it
I've-
should be.
I've never seen the remake.
Nah, me neither. I refuse to watch something. The Total Recall is amazing.
Yeah.
And US box office, August 1990.
I feel like I'm performing quite badly this week.
I want to say that this is some sort of DC superhero related thing that never really went anywhere. And I think Liam Neeson may have been the starring role in it. Whilst you think, I'm going to check IMDb and see if that's absolute bullshit. They've never ever yeah, it does have Liam Neeson.
Oh.
A brilliant scientist left for dead returns to exact revenge on the people who burned him alive. Fucking class does that sound?
It does, but I have absolutely no idea what it is.
It's Dark Man.
Okay. Man.
You're like,
I
"Ah,
could
of
have just
course."
started guessing lots of things, then man. I might have got there in the end.
Burned, Dr. Guy. 6.4 out of 10 IMDb. Get that on the watch list.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
17 minutes in, and we've barely spoke about wrestling, but let's not let that get in the way. We've got something else to do. And I'm looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to it since we spoke about it. We're back to movies.
Oh, God.
And we said from now on, whenever we watch a pay-per-view, we're going to try and fan cast it as if it was made into a film. I don't know how far down the card you've went. I've went down as far as Dusty and Macho. As far as from the top.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I said to you earlier, this is something in future weeks I would like to put a lot of time into. There were a couple of things came up that got in the way a wee bit for me this week, but we can just did you have intentions? Do we do it match by match, or do we do it like as a like at the start we just go through it and say?
Yeah, let's just at the start go through. Like I say,
Okay.
I'll tell you who I've got down as far as the wrestlers, and you can tell me if you've got any extra to that, and you can tell me what they are. Does that make sense?
Go for it. Yep.
So I've got Rude, Heenan, and Warrior, which is
Yep.
the main event. Hogan, Bossman, Jimmy Hart, Dino Bravo, and Earthquake, which was all the sort of people in the co-main.
Yep.
Dusty and Macho, and Piper and Vince.
Okay. You've got way more than me.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I do promise I'll invest more in it in future.
That's absolutely fine. So what have you got? You tell hit it up.
Well, I was after you. I think you said this yesterday, and I started really struggling trying to think of one for Hogan. And I don't know why. It seems like it should be easy to come up with something for Hogan, but I was really struggling with that. I started like moving my mind a little bit to Earthquake, and like it's one of those where everything I was kind of coming up with just seemed a little bit mean, and I started being convinced that, do you remember Rip Torn?
Yes.
That he would have made a good Earthquake.
Like that. That's brilliant.
So that was the one that sprang to mind for me. Did you come up with anyone for Hogan?
John Cena.
Oh, you just gotta go John Cena. Oh,
Aye.
okay. He could play him in a film, couldn't he? That would work.
We've seen it can be in his films, he does pretty good character type stuff.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I really struggled, but I thought he might be one that could.
And in terms of the rest of that match,
Could I tell you my earthquake?
yeah, go for it. Oh yeah, yeah,
John Goodman.
nice. I like it. I like it. That works. Yeah.
I like yours. I like Rip Torn too, though. That's great. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was struggling a bit with the rest. I was convinced there must be like Dino Bravo must look like somebody. Like he's got this slightly. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but we'll end up doing that quite a lot through these segments.
And
But
this card.
he's got like this slightly, buffoonish quality
Mhm.
about him,
Yeah.
which is, I'm sure, the character, and he's playing it very well. And I ended up trying to, think of people who were sort of fitting that slapsticky type thing, and I was just struggling. I ended up coming up with something. I thought Jimmy Hart. It just became really like. I imagine, anyone who listens to this might not have the slightest clue who I'm talking about. But do you remember the film Basketball?
Yes.
Do you remember the character Squeak? He was like this really annoying sidekick that was hyper and jumping about and thrusting his
Yes.
hips everywhere. For
Squeak
some reason,
Scolari.
I just decided that would be Jimmy Hart.
I've heard your sister's going up with Jimmy Hart. Amazing. I've got that's class. I've got Ben Stiller for Jimmy Hart.
Nice.
I like Squeak Scolari though.
Did
you
get
come up with a Dino Bravo?
I didn't. I couldn't.
No?
I just couldn't think of who it was.
I think I've been swayed by these what they called. I can't remember what they're called. These films. I've went Daniel Craig for
Okay.
Dino Bravo because he's got the
Okay.
blonde. He's got the blonde hair in those. What are those films? Glass Onion
Yeah,
film.
Glass Onion. Yeah, yeah. No, that I can see it from that. Yeah.
You didn't have a Dusty or a Macho then?
No, didn't have a Dusty or Macho.
Okay, I'll quickly tell you. I had Jonah Hill to play Dusty. He's got
Dusty.
to get back on the beef. Get the blonde
Amazing.
hair.
Yeah.
He plays that sort of over the top character in Wolf of Wall Street. I think he's got that in him.
Yeah, he could definitely play that. I can see that. Yeah.
And I don't know if you know who Joe Manganiello is.
I do. Yeah.
I forgot him for Savage, more for the look than
the
charisma. Boss Man. Do you have anybody?
Nah.
I've got David Harbour that plays Hopper in Stranger Things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's just the law enforcement aspect and you didn't have a Hogan. Did you Piper or Vince?
No. No, unfortunately not. The only other ones I've got are to do with Warrior Rude.
Okay. Piper, I've got Gerard Butler.
Yeah, that works.
I think they actually look quite similar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's also got that. Butler's got that kind of annoying American accent thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And before he became a fucked up cannibal, I've got Armie Hammer for playing Vince.
Okay.
Have to age him a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell him to stop sending those outrageous text messages.
Yeah. I'm not sure he's going to get many jobs, but yeah, it would work, I think.
Actually, maybe his character fits in quite well with Vince.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but yeah.
Who have you got for Warrior?
I went a couple of different directions on this because I originally thought like what was in my mind was almost like a like Pirates of the Caribbean style Johnny Depp type character. But then I started I might get cancelled if I say this. I started thinking of like
Kevin Spacey. No.
No, it was more like screeching, loud, wild-haired women that started springing to my mind. Nobody in particular. Winona Ryder crossed my mind when she was a wee bit more crazy back in the day. But yeah,
Okay.
it was. And then there was definitely a point when I started thinking maybe Brad Pitt, but it'd have to be one of his slightly wild-eyed, crazy characters to make that
like
work.
a 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, that kind of thing. A little bit twitchy.
Nice. Aye.
Yeah.
You could have Winona Ryder as Sensational Sherry. on
Yeah,
this card.
that'd work. Yeah,
Did you have a Heenan?
didn't have a Heenan.
Rude.
Rude. So I mentioned this to you previously. My mind immediately went to like the sort of 70s, 80s mustached sex symbol men, and the two that went into my mind were Burt Reynolds and Tom Selleck, and I was thinking, it's
Amazing.
in my mind it was one of them.
That's amazing. Imagine, brilliant. I love Tom Selleck. Imagine Rick Rude playing. What if Rick Rude is Richard on Friends?
Yeah. Wow.
For Warrior, I went with an actor that. For a Warrior, I went with an actor that sort of disappears into his roles. I went with Christian Bale.
Okay. Yep.
I think
Can
you could
see
do
that.
I've got Philip Seymour Hoffman playing Heenan,
Oh, that's really good.
and Henry Cavill as Rick Rude with his tash that he had in the old Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I like that as
Film.
well. Yeah. I think Philip Seymour Hoffman kind of knocks that out of the park.
I thought Giamatti, and
Mhm.
then I thought, no, we need to keep Giamatti because he's Heyman.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And we'll get there at some point.
So there we go. That was fun. I like
Yeah,
that.
I think that will be fun moving forward. I think when the idea came up, I'd already watched everything, and I was like, and trying to think back, and then probably didn't dedicate enough time to it. But I'm confident I will moving forward.
Awesome. Excellent. Right, let's get into this pay-per-view. Remember the pay-per-views when Vince just used to growl and shout at the start of them?
Yeah.
Well, this is one of them. That's missed. Although how much, we talk about these video packages all the time, and they're awesome. But just Vince going, "We'll have the earthquake." It's pretty class as well.
Yeah. So I've got it in my mind from the old WrestleManias like 5 and 6 and stuff like that. He was like talking about the mega powers exploding and the unstoppable force, and for Warrior Hogan, it does. I don't know. It takes you back and makes it sound like a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. So we got a bit of that, and then we got Vincent Piper welcoming us to. This is the third SummerSlam, is it? 88, 89, third SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And the first time the WWF Heavyweight title has ever been defended on a SummerSlam.
Yeah,
Other two main events were tag team matches.
Yeah.
Piper is here on commentary because Ventura quit like weeks before over some sort of contractual dispute about a video game in Japan.
Okay.
Piper, you and I both grumbled at the idea of him commentating, but he wasn't bad. He had
Yeah.
more heel turns in the Big Show
Yeah.
throughout it, but
Yeah.
he was all right. So we start off with our first match. We've got the Rockers taking on the tag team of the Power and Glory, which is Hercules and Paul Roma. Big storyline here is that Hercules pretty much grabs Shawn Michaels before the match starts and lays into him with his chain, takes him out for the whole match. Michael's working with a bum knee, apparently, going to surgery, and this was their way of getting around it. What do you think of this opener?
I had thought, and I ended up looking it up. Did they need to do this? From a Shawn Michaels point of view, because you end up getting a handicap match, and you get a few sort of flurries and comebacks and stuff by Marty Jannetty, and Michael's sort of playing that he keeps trying to get back on the apron, but I think it's even said by the commentators, what's he going to be capable of doing if he actually gets brought into the ring? The other two both quite powerful and dominating the match.
Oh man, you totally missed that there. You could say powerful and
Glorious?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they didn't really grab me from a charisma point of view. Although I think Paul Roma was trying.
He had cool shades on.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you would have thought that would be enough, but there's already another guy with shades. It's
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, I kind of thought, well, it was fine for what it was, and I get that if they had to do it, that's the way they had to go. But Piper's just like at a point screaming "Get up" at Michaels when he's on the outside.
Amazing. Piper's one of the guys that you never know if he's in character or if it's
Yeah.
genuinely just him. He's crazy. That's amazing.
Um, there was a move I wrote down about. I think it's actually the finish. Hercules suplex off the ropes, Roma coming off the top rope with a
How
splash.
good is that?
I thought it looked really nice, just really smooth, really
He just
nicely done.
he takes off whatever one's doing the splash takes off as the other one's halfway through the superplex. Super cool.
Yeah,
Love
I
that.
like that. I thought that the foot on the chest pin is that a bit much maybe, but after Jannetty's just fought valiantly on a 2-on-1, but it's telling a story, obviously real life situation where they're going to be removing Michaels for a little while he has surgery and recovery. But yeah, I think it kind of just was what it was, really.
It says a lot about Shane Douglas that they decided to just have Michaels lie at the side of the ring, and they did replace Michaels with Shane Douglas for the match. But maybe
was
they'd
in
seen the Great American Bash when he's in the Dynamic Dudes and thought, "No, we don't want that guy."
He was in the dark match, wasn't he? Shane Douglas.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, against Buddy Rose, which is a name I know, but I don't know who it is.
Oh, that's Mandy's dad. He's got an OnlyFans as well.
Looking at
Apparently.
the picture, I'm not sure it will do quite as well. And yeah, he's been dead a while as well.
Oh, dear. Just lies there then.
Wow.
Oh dear. Yeah, a decent. Well, I mean, a half decent. Jannetty's really impressive in this match.
Yeah, he is. He's doing the never give up, keep going, and he has a few comebacks. Yeah, it's really hard to evaluate when it just becomes a 2-on-1, but it was fine. I didn't hate it. Thought it was fine.
He's, when you look back, when you reflect on what is, like most people now are described as the Michaels or the Jannetty. How harsh is that on Marty Jannetty when you see him in the ring like this?
Yeah, it's really harsh. I mean, I assume if he hadn't had a lot of drug issues and personal issues and things like that,
Facebook posts.
He would have had a pretty good career. He may never have been what Michaels was, but very, very few ever are in terms of success. He was a good performer. I loved the team as a kid. Like if they were on whatever VHS tape I was watching, I found that exciting. I liked that. So yeah, it does always seem harsh. It shouldn't. It feels like you shouldn't need to belittle one to praise the other, but that's kind of the way it seems to go.
Yep. Okay, this is our first of many trips backstage in this pay-per-view. We're with Sean Mooney. He is with Mr. Perfect and Bobby Heenan. The number of times that Mr. Perfect can fit the word perfect in a sentence is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Good promo. Him and, I don't know if you noticed this, but obviously there's a lot of promos throughout this pay-per-view. A lot of them seemed telepromptered or something.
Mm-hmm. It did feel like that, yeah. Like there were definitely things that they were having to get in, and it seemed like they were maybe people there making sure that they were getting in the things that that needed to be said. Yeah, I've always really liked Mr. Perfect. I didn't like his promo was fine. He comes across as a bit of a cocky prick, and that's the whole point of things. And I think they sort of part tell the story that this is it was supposed to be somebody else, I think, that he was being challenged by.
Brutus.
Ah, okay.
Do you know what happened to him?
No.
Beefcake. This is no funny because it's quite serious. Beefcake was sunbathing on the beach, and someone, I think, paragliding, went directly in his face. He had to get facial
Is that when that
reconstruction.
happened? Just
Yeah,
before that? Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
I take it that's why they wore that daft mask so much.
Yeah, I mean, I remember his comeback after the surgery. He was off for ages. He was off TV pay-per-views for ages. But yeah, I didn't know that was then. Wow.
So that, and then they had Kerry Von Erich debut a couple two weeks before or something like that. What did you think of Kerry Von Erich's promo before?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't for me. Yeah, I mean, in the Mr. Perfect promo, he's kind of talked about how he can handle a tornado, and I think Bobby Heenan references the fact that they look much scarier than they are and things like that. And then he's trying to, I don't know, defend himself as a tornado in terms of the impact he is going to have. Talk about like he looks amazing, and he's effective in the ring and all that, especially given I think certain circumstances physically that he had.
Yeah.
But he's not a good promo. It didn't do anything for me at all.
The funny thing is, like, he comes across pretty well. He's like you say, he looks amazing. He's smiling. He's quite like calm. The way he's delivering whatever it is that he's talking about, but he's talking like he is an actual tornado. And at the end, he says something about when I go away back up into the clouds with the Intercontinental Championship belt. It's like, but you're not an actual tornado.
I think he was maybe watching Ultimate Warrior promos or something like that. Got a wee bit carried away. I mean,
what if you know the rumor, Adam? You know that people think that there used to be one Ultimate Warrior, and the other Ultimate Warrior was Kerry Von Erich.
Yeah.
You've just added an extra.
Yeah, I mean they're quite physically similar.
Warrior's got 2 feet though.
I assume back in the pre-injury days that Kerry Von Erich was a far better in-ring performer than Warrior's ever been.
That's
I would
outrageous.
assume.
I wonder. I've never ever found, and I guess I know the answer is that they wanted to be able to be trademarked as the Texas Tornado and all that. But why would they not just call him Kerry Von Erich? Vince even refers to him as Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado.
Yeah, that can be the only reason. It's weird because maybe in only certain parts of America, but he was so known, like famous, properly famous, and you're kind of just removing that from. It's weird. I don't get it. I get them wanting to own names so that they can. I mean, I imagine it even probably played into if you bought like an action figure, it probably only said Texas Tornado. It probably didn't say Kerry Von Erich, and that probably impacts how much money goes to who and things like that. Yeah.
I just think if they ever wanted to bring any other of the Von Erichs in, are they going to bring them in as other areas of, I don't know, other areas and other natural? They could have a massive natural disasters faction. The earthquake, the Tugster, the tornado, the David Lightning strike. Again. Anyway, let's get to this match. This was a short match. I was quite looking forward to this, and I definitely remember watching this match as a kid. Definitely had this on video, but it's quite a short match and not Perfect's best match.
No, I hadn't looked at the times or anything like that, and I kind of remembered this, but not move for move or duration or anything like that. But I got quite enthusiastic at the start because Perfect's like out wrestling him and being a real cocky prick. He's like got the smile and all that. He's obviously like tornado's gone in 100 miles an hour because he is an actual tornado.
Nice.
And Perfect's and it's only for about a minute. He's just schooling him, and I thought, I hope this goes on a while because I was really enjoying that, but it didn't.
No, you start getting the power stuff, and you think Perfect's probably had the the chat to get him over and sell perfectly, which he does. I remember the finish. I don't remember him doing the claw, and the crowd go pretty mad for the claw.
They did,
Which
and
is cool.
I think that was his move in. Oh God, I can't remember what.
World class.
World class, yeah. I think that was his move. There was the claw. They've obviously added like a spinning punch. Maybe he did that there as well to it. But yeah, I remembered the punch, but I hadn't remembered the claw.
I see. And that's all it takes. I've referred to it as a discus punch. I think they maybe referred to it as some sort of weather-related punch.
Yeah.
Of course, new champion. Not much. It's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not much to discuss, really.
No, I don't know if obviously he found out later on that Kerry Von Erich had 1 foot, so he was basically missing a foot. And it sounded like loads of the other performers didn't know, but I wondered, like, did the office know? Was this playing any part in booking? Were they deliberately keeping things quite short?
That's crazy to think. Did they have a prosthetic of some description? I take it.
I don't know. I remember hearing, it was a podcast I was listening to, and somebody referencing the fact that there was a situation where something, and it may well have been a prosthetic, that's what makes sense, came loose or came off, and he basically went under the ring to reattach or whatever he needed to do, and then came back out with it on, and that was apparently when everyone else realised, oh
my God.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Apparently never, like, showered with the guys or anything like that, because he obviously didn't want people knowing, didn't want them to see it.
Make a tornado in the showers would make a hell of a mess. Body parts flying everywhere.
Wow.
We go backstage and Perfect and Heenan are seething with Mean Gene.
Furious.
That's about it. Go to our next match, which is Sensational. Was she Queen Sherry or was she just Sensational Sherry?
She's Queen Sherry here.
She is dressed as some sort of cat, I think. Is she?
Yeah.
And she is due to take on Sweet Sapphire, but there's been no sign of Sapphire. Do they go back with Dusty, or is that afterwards? Maybe
that's after. So here they do. Sherry gets brought out, and Dusty's music, which Sapphire would be coming out to, starts up. Piper suggests somebody go and give Sapphire a pat on the bum to get her out here. The music restarts. I'd remembered what was happening here when it started, and when the music restarts, Piper's like, "Okay, here we go." And I'm thinking, why is he not? Just because the music has started again, he's now super confident she's coming out.
Class. Finko ends up saying, "Look, you've got 30 seconds to get out of here. Does maybe management come and tell him to say this?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he does the 30-second countdown. Sherry takes over with her beautiful vocals. No sign, and Sensational Queen Sherry wins the match.
Yep.
And this is all playing into quite a riveting storyline that's going on throughout the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So we go backstage with Mean Gene. He's with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, who is, of course, Sapphire's friend.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever, confirm what that dynamic is supposed to be, but there's a bit in this segment that really made me laugh.
Yes, and I know exactly. Oh, I ain't seen her. Not me. Okay.
Hacksaw is being so weird. Like, he says, "We're all still looking for her," and I'm thinking, if that was supposed to be sarcastic, it comes across brilliantly. If it's talking basically like, I've got a match coming up, but yeah, sure thing, Dusty. I'll spend all my prep time looking for
your bird, mate. Amazing. Class. Dusty's been looking for her in every nook and cranny, and that's when Duggan comes in. Have you seen her, Jim? Still not seen her. Amazing. Where was Nikolai Volkov here? That's the question.
He actually maybe was prepping for the match. Who knows?
Maybe I think he was just practicing his smile.
Yeah.
So we go back to the ring, and we'll all be devastated that we did, because it's the Warlord taking on Tito Santana. This was due to be Martel versus Tito Santana. I want to say that they were a tag team, and the tag team had split.
Yeah, that's right.
But Martel was injured.
That's a damn shame.
They said that he had a lucrative modelling contract in France, which I quite liked. What do you think the Warlord, like, obviously he's bald and got a goatee, but he really does look like Austin.
Right. I've got this in my notes. What I've got is that if you took Austin and then you put an air pump in him,
Yes.
and then just pumped him up, that's what you would get. You would get the Warlord.
Totally.
Oh, my phone is ringing. Can I come back in a second?
Of course. Well, I just talk
Apologies.
through this
Yeah.
awful match. Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so let me see how long they went for. Warlord versus Tito Santana. 5 minutes as well. Terrible match. Warlord pummeling poor Tito Santana for probably about 3 or 4 minutes of this match. Santana comes off the ropes with his patented flying forearm and knocks the Warlord down. But just as you think Santana's going to get the 3 count, the Warlord gets his leg on the ropes. Out of nowhere, the Warlord then hits a running power slam in the fashion of the British Bulldog, and that's it. He gets the win. And it's all very uneventful and awful, and a bit of a waste of a match. And so far, we've had 1, 2, 3 matches, and they've all been relatively poor, and all been around about that 5-minute mark. So that was Warlord versus Tito Santana. Next match on this card is probably the reason why I picked this card. It's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match between Demolition and the Hart Foundation. But of course, before we get to this match, we've got multiple promos to get through backstage. So we've got Sean Mooney with the Demolition, Axe, Smash, and Crush. And I am definitely marking time until Adam comes back. Let's do a bit of this, see if we can get him back. No, didn't work. Let's try again. That didn't work either. So we've got this. The rules behind this Demolition and Hart Foundation match is really that because there's a 3 Demolition, one of them needs to stay away from the match altogether. And I think Vince and Piper talk about one of them requiring to be out of the arena, out of the whole arena. But that's not the way it works, obviously. We've got a quality promo from the Demolition, especially the one that sticks his tongue out and looks like a member of Kiss. And Big Crush, the Hawaiian, shouldn't be allowed to speak. And then that's when we get them coming out. It's cool to see Demolition with the tag team titles. I think here comes Adam. He's going to be desperate. Yes, here we go. Yes, he's back. I'm
back.
completely waffling. I talked through Warlord and Tito Santana. Stinker, absolute stinker. I'm just talking about Demolition and how cool it is to see them with the titles.
Yeah.
And how they cut this cool promo. I was saying the one that sticks his tongue out quite a lot. Looking cool. Big Crush probably shouldn't be allowed to speak.
Yeah.
But
There was something in the promos that annoyed me, but this is just me. This is me, right? Because we've got a Demolition promo, and it's all 3 members, and that's cool. And I actually liked Demolition as all 3. They're sort of talking up, confusion about or potentially creating confusion about who's going to compete in the match.
Could it be
And the
Axe?
story
Could
that
it be
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, and the story seems to carry on through the match about confusion. These guys all look totally different. Crush is about a foot taller than the other two. One of the guys is like bald, and the other one's got long hair. I can tell them apart very easily. But I
When
suppose
sorry, go. Sorry, I go.
I suppose you can say it's a disadvantage to a team challenging them, not knowing which two they're going to be facing. So that's fine. I get that. But we move on to a promo with the Hart Foundation.
Settle down, Anvil. Settle down.
Now, we've talked a few times about the fact that we think Brett's actually a pretty strong promo, pretty good.
Mhm.
But if he's going to stand there quoting Phil Collins in his promos, he and I are done.
These are two hearts beating as one. That's okay. I can. Yeah, there's no getting around that with you. Adam is not a fan of Phil Collins, much like Sean Connery. He's got a list.
Yeah, there's a list. I don't get quite as worked up about my list these days. You know, it's just a thing that if I passed them, I wouldn't be like, "Hi," I'd just let them pass. But yeah, I'm calmer about it these days.
He's been through quite a lot of therapy to get rid of his rage towards Phil Collins, and as you can see, he's done a really good job. You've done a really good job, Adam.
Thanks.
I thought that Neidhart is completely unhinged here. It's amazing.
I love him like that. You don't want to see a calm Neidhart because it's a good contrast between the two. Because Brett always comes across as cool and calm and all that, and Neidhart's just freaking out next to him.
Do you not think like if you're getting ready to challenge for the tag team titles against guys called Demolition, you don't want your crazy tag partner to settle down. You want them to continue this amped up. Anyway, I was saying this is probably why I picked this pay-per-view, this match.
Okay. Yeah.
I have really good memories of it, and I wanted some Brett. I love Demolition. As a kid, I certainly did.
Yeah. Do you like? I think they talk about this in terms of what people grew up watching. Do you prefer Demolition or Legion of Doom?
Demolition.
Me too. And is that because we're WWF watchers, do you
Probably.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was Legion of Doom's WWF debut. This pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I mean, people older than us probably refer to them as the Road Warriors, I would guess.
Yeah. And you know, I didn't mind seeing them for like there was something a bit of a spectacle about seeing them, but I would rather watch a match that had Demolition in it than a match that had.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love the free bird aspect to it, and like I know they're playing that up here, and I know you're saying they all look different, but I do like the idea that three different people can defend the tag titles as a tag team, and you don't know who you're getting.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever did that with the New Day, but like it really surprises me that they've not done that with more teams.
Yeah, I think they did it with the New Day. I think it would when they were all fit. 'Cause I think one of them spent a long time injured. So it was I forget the names.
Xavier Woods.
Yeah, so I think it was clear who the two were for quite a long time, but he would accompany them and all that. But when all three were healthy, I think they used to play into that it'd be, you know, kind of a snap decision in the moment which two of them it was going to be that were in the match.
Yeah, I like that. Demolition got awesome music as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's talk through the match because it's class. How like Brett's a proper workhorse in this match.
Yeah, he is.
What else would you expect? But
I think this I was a little bit worried because I remembered loving this and I thought, is kid me loving this for reasons that adult me is gonna shit all over for, you know. But I actually really enjoyed this.
Me too.
Yeah, this was cool. Yeah, Crush, I've always thought this. See, when you see him perform, he's like big, he's strong, he's physically very impressive looking. But they play him, or he maybe naturally, I don't know, played it as dumb. Like every sort of incarnation of his characters, I remember thinking, that guy's kind of dumb. And it sort of came across a few times in this match as well.
Mm. I tell you what, Crush must have the best tilt-a-whirl backbreaker in the business. Indeed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is probably about the first match that we could potentially talk through, but I don't know if you really want to. Something. Go on. Sorry.
I'm just looking to see, because I have got notes, maybe not a huge number of them. I've kind of got, it's maybe more notes at times about the story and some of the shenanigans than like move by move.
Mm-hmm. Anvil was during that first fall. Anvil was taken out and outside for quite a large portion of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, let Brett get beat down, and the Demolition. This is what I was going to say. Demolition's finisher.
Yeah.
If a team did this now, you'd be like, oh, that was cool. Like, is that really what you're doing?
Yeah.
But they made it look so cool. The guy's holding him in the backbreaker position, and he comes off the second rope with the elbow. It's cool. It looks amazing.
And see the way, I can't remember how others sold it, but Brett kind of spins when it hits him. It just made it look really impactful, the way it caught him. But yeah, I imagine, yeah, you're right. It seemed like a good team finishing move then. It would seem like a, I don't know, very brief moment in the match now.
Yeah. And so that's 1-0 down to the champs. Brett has, like we say, been beaten down, and they go straight after him again. They start the second fall, but he ends up fighting back, and we get Neidhart goes absolutely crazy. He's a good hot tag guy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable power slam on one of them. I don't know which one it is. He gets, so is it the power slam? And that's when he gets, like, it looks like he's getting a 3, but Crush, instead of breaking up the pin, dives over them and elbows the ref.
So I think there's one more move. I think Brett propels Anvil into the corner and he spears Smash. And then I think they do their Hart Foundation finisher where he holds him up. He comes off the ropes with a clothesline. Yeah, I think they do that, and that's Crush, dumb old Crush, trying to break it up, leaps into the ref.
That's a choice. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So that's 1-0. It is at this point that we see Axe running down from backstage, getting a bit of boo, and he hides under the apron, and this is where the shenanigans. I remember shenanigans going on. In my mind's eye, shenanigans were going on all through the match.
Yeah, I think I was thinking the same. Yeah,
but they don't. But it's effective enough, I think.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that you've raised that they look fuck all like each other, and two of them have got barely any makeup on, and he's got this beautiful full face of makeup.
Yeah, I was wondering even at a moment whether their outfits were slightly different, but I think when I looked again, I thought, no, they are the same. It's just the physical differences make them look a little bit different. But I've been a wee bit like, you mentioned early on, Brett is just, there's points where he's taking a bit of a beating as the match is going. And I've got written in my notes, Brett gets in some offense as a bit of a comeback. He's a tenacious lad who might make it in this business.
Nice. At this point, will he have taken on Piper? Or no, this is post WrestleMania 6, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
WrestleMania 8, I think that would be.
Right. So at some point, someone gets taken out the ring. Member of Demolition goes under the ring, and Axe comes out, and he is, how's the ref not noticed that this guy's suddenly completely full of beans and like wrecking house? Absolutely destroys Brett, and then for some reason goes back under the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was questioning that as well. he seemed like he had quite a lot of good momentum going, but that was him. He's come in, he's done his bit, he's done.
He's maxed out his energy bar. He needs to go back on the ring. Suddenly the crowd start popping, and Legion of Doom are coming down the aisle, quite dangerously taking their spiky football pads off as crowd are grabbing them.
Yeah.
Questionable behaviour, I'm sure. What's the name of the WWF lawyer that seems to be immortal?
Oh,
Not Hulk Hogan.
What's his name again? I know exactly who you mean. It'll come back to me at some point.
It amazed me that he was the one that was issuing a statement like this year or last year when all this stuff with Vince happened. It's like,
yeah, he's
that guy
still
was about
going.
70 when the steroid trial was happening.
Yeah.
So anyway, here come LOD. They pull Axe out from under the ring and beat him up. And amongst all the commotion, Brett is on all fours. Behind one of the members of Demolition, Neidhart comes over the ropes with a tackle, and they get the roll up and they get the pin. 2-1, new champs.
Yep, I did enjoy it. Like, maybe not quite as much as when I was a kid, but I could still find myself getting a bit lost in it. It's just good fun, and you've got some good performers in there. Like we've clearly both enjoyed Demolition as a team. Neidhart's class. He's just a raving lunatic, and Bret Hart just brilliant at selling. Did a lot of that in this match, and some of the good technical stuff as well. I assume they were at some point wanting to go to like a series between Demolition and LOD. It feels like that's where they want to go, and there's always been the comparisons between the teams. But I really don't have memories of them facing off against each other at all.
Nah, me neither. I wondered if they did that at Survivor Series. I never actually looked, but apparently that was the thing they wanted to do. And I think they even, is it Crush? Oh no, it's afterwards. That comes later.
Okay.
Not to worry.
Okay.
So after all that commotion, we go backstage with Mean Gene, with the LOD. They are shouting very loudly, and then they're shouting about Demolition really loudly, and then in come Brett and Neidhart celebrating. Sort of funny dynamic between there being these two top tag teams. The elephant in the room is, of course, that they should probably be facing each other, but they hate the Demolition.
They sort of they do reference the Hearts that they're willing to take on all comers. I love Anvil's slightly maniacal laughing, and what is it? The pink and black attack is back. I love that.
Yes.
That's classic Anvil.
Amazing.
But yeah, it does seem for now it's like we've got a common enemy, so that's fine. We can share a moment and a locker room, and all will be good.
I wonder if the Power and the Glory get a shot against. They deserve it after the one-sided beatdown of the Rockers.
Absolutely.
So then we go. Shockingly, we're still backstage. Sean Mooney. These are three angry bastards, and you're just Sean Mooney. Stop trying to open the door to the Demolition's locker room. Why is he doing that? Madman. He keeps like putting his shoulder in. It just keeps getting smashed back in his face. We're backstage again. Mean Gene. He is with sensational Queen Sherry. This is my favourite line on the pay-per-view. Mean Gene says to her that there'd been a lot of early sightings of Sapphire in Philadelphia, and she says, "Early sightings? What is she, a UFO?" Oh my god, I'd kill myself laughing at that. Like, she does this sort of maniacal laugh.
The shrieking laugh is really quite something. She gets on to talking about like saying, she's heard rumors but she couldn't believe them, but maybe Sapphire isn't so dumb after all, and stuff like that. She's quite a character, Sherry. She has another one that got me a wee bit as well. When Gene says, "What's so funny about a missing person?" and Sherry says, "I said she was missing, but I didn't say anything about her being a person."
Amazing. She's class. She's great. Paired well with Savage, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
this must have been one of these parts in the pay-per-view where they started bouncing with the promos. They seem to be. It's back to you, Sean. And here's my colleague, Mean Gene Okerlund.
You'd watched it before me, and you sent me something about like back to you, Sean, back to you, Mean Gene, and stuff like that. And I was like, oh no, what is this? What's going on? And I was watching it, and I was thinking, what is this? It's like a moment somewhere near the middle of the show where there's just so many promos and backstage interviews, and it's just one after another, and I kind of felt exhausted at the end of it. It was like interview fatigue or something like that. It was weird, and I don't remember the. Mean Gene at a point between interviews gives a build up for the second half of the show, basically referencing everything that's coming. And I thought, right, we must be moving on now. But we go straight into another series of interviews. Oh, it was hard work actually, this whole segment.
And absolutely, and the two things that I think you said to me, so did they do it at a point where they're building the cage, which is not the case. And we got a riveting segment with Alfred Hayes when they're building the cage. And the other thing was, I wondered if these were pre-recorded, but I don't think they could have been, because a lot of the stuff that's like how the wrestlers look and all that would suggest that it's not pre-recorded.
Yeah.
We go to Mean Gene with the Boss Man. I've got 0 notes on that one. I don't know if there's anything of note.
Boss Man talks about he's gonna be the ref, justice will prevail, stuff like that. Yeah.
He's the ref for Bad News Brown versus Jake.
Yeah.
Which you expect them to become. But then we go to the locker room with Sean Mooney. This needs to be seen to be believed. We've got Hacksaw Jim Duggan with his new friend. The stuff Sean Mooney says here is insane. It's like he's reporting for the front line.
Yeah.
As tensions rise in the Middle East and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I get why he's saying it, but the words that he's saying are really weird.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming because we're going to end up, the next WrestleMania is 7, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I've got memories of the Rumble and the build up to that is Slaughter winning the title from Warrior, and they have it's this show they have a Slaughter segment on later on, isn't it? And it's this stuff by Sean Mooney is where it all started to come together in my mind about like where in the world we currently are in terms of tensions and where things are about to go. So it helped me from that point of view. But yeah, it's a funny role he took on for that segment in particular.
So we've got Duggan and Nikolai Volkov and Duggan have put their country's differences aside and become some sort of tag team. We'll jump to Mean Gene with Dino Bravo, Earthquake, and Jimmy Hart. And I think Earthquake needs a toilet because he can't stand still. He's like a big baby bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
I don't like it. He's no good promo at all. I didn't get this thing of people having managers but then letting them speak for themselves.
That's the thing. He is clearly a massive, intimidating guy. Just have him be silent. Have Jimmy Hart be doing the chatting. It seemed unnecessary, and it kind of, I don't know, when he speaks, he doesn't seem as intimidating as when he's not speaking. So
not at all.
Don't have him speak.
Then we go to Sean Mooney's with Jake Roberts. We get the Jake Roberts whisper. Damien is acting up.
I didn't
he's
like
like
that.
Tightening on his throat.
Yeah,
and
he's
like
wrapping around his neck, and he's like moving the tail aside to speak and stuff. Oh, I didn't like it. Like, he's such a good promo, but that was kind of creeping me out. That was. Yeah, a wee bit much, but he is so good. Like, talked before about the way he does speak quietly and he draws you in. He makes you listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he just comes, some of it's like music lyrics and stuff like. He just comes up with this stuff that just sounds so like kind of menacing. Yeah, love it.
So we go to the ring, and you might think, "Oh, brilliant!" But unfortunately, it's to Jake Roberts versus Bad News Brown with Bossman as the ref. Not 100% sure of the backstory here. There seems to be some sort of sewer rat versus snake thing going on.
Yeah.
Bad News Brown notorious for having relationship with, what did they say, like £200 worth of Brooklyn sewer rats or something like that?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where they were going with this. It just seemed to be you've got something that, is your animal pal, so have I, and they're kind of both unusual pets. This was weird.
I don't know where Bossman fits in here either. I seem to
No.
recall Bossman and Bad News Brown having some sort of rivalry. Don't know. how
Yeah,
that
I think they
fits
end up having a match at some point.
in. Right. Interesting that Bad News Brown's finisher is the Ghetto Blaster. I thought that was interesting. Questionable officiating here for the Bossman. We've got Bad News Brown hitting Jake with a chair and doesn't even disqualify him.
Yeah.
You can't go about telling people they're going to be serving hard time and then not even disqualify them for hitting people with chairs.
Yeah. I mean, I think does he eventually disqualify him for that? It takes like at least a second attempt.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he gets a bit in Bossman's face, and then Bossman's away out to check on Jake, who's outside the ring, and Bad News Brown takes the snake bag into the middle of the ring. He's going to go for a leg drop on the snake. That didn't work for Hogan brother, and it's not going to work for his pal Bossman. He pulls that bag out the way. Brown hits the mat. Brown kind of begs off the confrontation with Bossman, but then tries to attack him from behind. But Jake's now recovered enough to come in, get the snake out of the bag, and kind of put it on Bad News Brown.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Damien is a big snake. He's absolutely massive.
I hate that thing of like putting the snake on him.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, obviously, it's putting a snake on a man. It just seems wrong. Like, here's my dog. Like, just throwing your dog on somebody.
Yeah.
It's just a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Questionable to try and leg drop a bag with a snake in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
When you're just wearing pants.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's going to be any winners in that situation.
No. And apparently that is Bad News Brown done with WWF.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, and they were supposed to do like a house. We've spoke before, like your pay-per-views essentially sold the house shows. The intention was to go around the sort of house circuit doing Roberts versus Bad News Brown, but he leaves to go possibly Japan. They put Akeem in instead of Bad News Brown, but they still do a Brooklyn. They do like Brooklyn street fights with Akeem versus Jake Roberts.
Yeah, that just seems a bit messy.
African Dream.
Yeah.
Here we are backstage. Thank God we're backstage again. It's Mean Gene and the Demolition have reapplied their face paint.
Got to respect that.
You have. Maybe that's what they were doing. They didn't want Sean Mooney seeing them without their face paint on.
That'd be it. That makes sense.
They cut a really good promo here. I really liked it. They're just angry and they want a piece of LOD, but
there's a great moment where they're like criticizing the Harts for cheating because of the numbers game, but like
that.
as a heel, that's just brilliant because that is the only way they're seeing this. That was unfair, and yeah, I love that.
That's what is really good about this promo. I absolutely love that. Brother Love show with Drill Sergeant Slaughter. Why are they referring to him as Drill Sergeant?
Yeah, I don't know. I see, as a kid, I properly hated Brother Love. Like I didn't get it because it's a sort of mocking of these. What do they call them?
Like an evangelist.
Yeah,
evangelical.
Which I certainly wasn't really aware of when I would have been
Exposed to
watching
that,
this stuff as a youngster. I think it was quite an American thing, certainly at the time. But regardless of understand or not understand, this character infuriated me as a kid. Like the way he spoke and everything. Now, that's the idea, and I get it. Like looking back now, I totally get it. I bought it as a kid by hating it, but it was like I could cope with all sorts of other interviewers and segments and things like that. But any time Brother Love came on, I was just angry. I was angry at his existence.
Wow, is he on the list?
So, sorry, Bruce. No, not now.
Nah.
Not now. Maybe
Okay.
if I'd had a list as a kid, I think he might have been.
That would have been quite sinister, childlike
Yeah,
behaviour. though, to
yeah,
be fair.
yeah. That would have been a worry. Yeah.
I now see where 1998 Shawn Michaels got his inspiration for his promos. It was from Sergeant Slaughter, obviously. The crowd are no into this. I think he is supposed to be cutting like a anti-American
Yeah.
promo, but it just completely bombs because of the way that he's puke.
Yeah, I was assuming this is maybe quite early in the sort of transition because he's not going full throttle. You know, he's talking about how America's become soft and weak, and then he talks about the fact that he calls America too chicken to declare war and stuff like that. And he does praise Saddam Hussein. I'm watching thinking, is this just the start of his or the early stages of his where he's going? And obviously they're going to end up with the real American Hulk Hogan against the turncoat Slaughter. I started thinking about he was basically Sergeant Slaughter had like this deal with G.I. Joe and all that. Like a tie-in. Did he do the voice for the cartoon and stuff like that?
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And I think there was an action figure tie-in as well and all that. And I was thinking, I wonder how like that looks to an American audience. He has been G.I. Joe in their eyes, and then he's the one. I mean, from a creative storytelling point of view, it's really clever. It's the exact right thing to do. But then I don't know where we are in terms. I don't think war hasn't been declared here, but I wonder if you get really nervous as like a booking team when you think this is how we're going to go and we'll do this, and then they're like, ah shit, it is actually a war now. Should we pull the plug on this?
It's pretty controversial. But yeah, the Philadelphia crowd are not having it anyway. It stinks and all this bullshit with giving Brother Love a medal and all that. Bruce is acting like a little weasel. It's not good. Yeah. We are backstage again with the Orient Express. Mr. Fuji, I kind of maybe started switching off round about here.
I have no notes there other than Sean Mooney is with the Orient Express and Fuji.
Okay. Do you have any notes for the Orient Express versus Duggan and Volkov?
I have something just before that. I've got Mean Gene thinks he has Sapphire, but she slams the door in his face. But Mean Gene still just seems really happy that she's safe. He seems pleased about that. I've got a few notes for Hacksaw and Volkov, but not an awful lot. They sing "God Bless America."
Oh my god, so they do.
Which I've written was fucking awful.
If they did that now, they'd be heels.
Yeah. They synchronize atomic drops and kick the Orient Express out of the ring. Fans are chanting USA. Volkov goes to slam an Orient Express member, but the other one comes off the top with a chop. Apologies, I've not differentiated between them. Fuji with a cane shot from the outside. Look how tanned Duggan is. He would have made a great WCW champion.
Oh dear.
Volkov gets the hot tag to Duggan, who dominates even when the Orient Express try to double team him. All four men in the ring. Volkov and Duggan throw the Orient Express into each other. Duggan with a running clothesline and a comedy jump onto his opponent for a pin win.
Satisfying. 4 stars. Meltzer gave that one. How long did that go? 3 minutes 22. And unbelievably, we go 2 minutes in the next match. It was a match I was looking forward to anyway.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Hey, next
That's-
match. Oh no, sorry, we've got Dusty again. So what were you going to say?
No, I'll get to it because it's more about the match. I'll get to it.
Okay. Dusty backstage again with Mean Gene. He says he needs Sapphire in his corner. Did he really speak like that in real life, or is that a character?
I think that must be character. It's turned up too much to be close to real life. Mean Gene is still like hanging out outside the room Sapphire's in. He says he's not leaving, and that just seems like pretty serious harassment, to be
It
honest.
does. This is a man who has got questionable behaviour in and out of the ring. Mean Gene. We've seen what he did to Demolenko.
We have. Yeah.
We've seen him on college campuses behaving in an inappropriate manner with children. Oh God. Young people half his age.
You made it so much worse.
I did. Sorry to the estate of Mean Gene Oakland. Apologise. Did not mean that. So, let's go to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes versus the Macho King, Randy Savage. In between that, we get Sean Mooney trying to balance on Macho King's, what is that he's on? The thing that they carry him on, throne
Yeah, I'm not sure what you would call that actually.
thing.
Yeah.
Less than entertaining. So, match is about to get going. Savage's outfit, or he's the stuff he's wearing for this match, is classic Savage. I think he looks awesome. We get, almost immediately as the match is about to start, we get DiBiase interrupting. And we knew all along that Sapphire, Dusty saying she's got a new Cadillac and new diamond ring and all that sort of stuff. So we knew what was happening here. But DiBiase interrupts on the mic and he asks the crowd to feast their eyes on his latest purchase.
Oh.
And he is referring to a person, despite what Sensational Sherry might have said. He is referring to Sweet Sapphire and poor Dusty.
Yeah, I did have in my notes. DiBiase tells Dusty to look at his latest purchase. It's Sweet Sapphire. Yes, he has bought a person. And I wasn't sure how else to go about wording that, so I can just leave it at that.
My favourite thing about this is that she's carrying a bag full of money, and it's like a WWF bag.
Just a sports bag, basically.
Like the bag in Trainspotting that they take to London.
Yeah. Oh, poor Dusty, I thought, did a good job of looking absolutely crestfallen.
He did.
Yeah, I'd started, I think I messaged you about this, I'd started to remember in the earlier part of the show what happened in this match, and I have no idea why this is the match that stood out. And it's a shame because when I thought that this was on the card, I thought this will be class. This will be about Savage and
Good
Dusty.
match.
Heel Savage and Dusty. Brilliant. This is going to be amazing. And then I started to remember, it's not even a match. There's basically no match. And I just became really disappointed. There's still things about it that I like. I thought the whole presentation of Savage coming down was amazing. Like him being carried on that throne, it sells everything that this heel character is supposed to be, and he's playing it brilliantly. I love this, but again, how good would it have been to just see them have a proper match? Would have been great.
Yeah, 100%. This leads me to think, you know how this whole Cody Rhodes story is like, or his whole career is like, I'm going to win the one that my dad never got a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
Was Dusty ever high enough up the card?
Nah, I don't remember him being positioned at that level. Obviously, Savage is a big star, and I believe they had a lot of matches around the house shows and all that, and for quite a long period of time. Right. So he is in there against a big star, but I don't ever remember him being really close to the title mix when he was in WWE.
Nah. Yeah, it's not like it's not as like the Forever a Bridesmaid type story that they lead you to think. It doesn't seem like that anyway.
Yeah.
Savage, despite all this, still needs Sherry's purse to get the job done. Dusty ends up getting smashed in the head with it, and Savage gets the win. Cheap win.
Yeah.
I guess they go into a Dusty DiBiase feud, do they?
Yeah, I think they must do from here. I assume maybe opposing teams at the Survivor Series after this. But yeah, I'm not sure where, because Savage is going to end up in the. Does he end up in the title picture? He does. With Warrior.
They do the career match, don't they?
They do the career match at Mania, yeah. I think he's the one that cost Warrior the title at the Rumble. That's what happened.
Slaughter. Nice.
Yeah. And then they go and have the career match at Mania.
God, do you know, a Slaughter v Warrior match sounds like torture.
Well, next show I've picked.
Okay, so we are backstage again with Mean Gene, and he is with Big Boss Man, tweaking out of his mind for some reason, and Hulk Hogan. Hogan dedicates the match to the Tugster, and that is questionable. He also says, "Let me tell you something." Earthquake.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
No, it's not groundbreaking. Do you remember the say your prayers, take your vitamins? Do you remember them being called the Demandments?
Yeah, I definitely heard that before. Because I think I think they knew they couldn't say commandments because that was going to offend people. So
Right.
I think they were trying to have him come up with his own thing, but then he's been quite forceful with what he's insisting on calling it demandments.
Yep, he is. That's not going to number 5. That's not going to work for me, brother. Never drop the title to anyone smaller than you. So yeah, I don't think we've got anyone else before the match. So we're getting a Hogan Earthquake, will we?
Yeah, go for it.
This is essentially the main event. I'm sure we'll talk about the whole thing around that, but the pop for Hogan is unbelievable.
It is. Like, there's so many instances where I loved him as a kid. I look back and think he's a dick, but he was so over. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's undeniable. It really is. I quite enjoyed this match. I have to confess that I genuinely quite enjoyed it.
There's a moment where, because so when they're coming out, I used to love this when Earthquake did it. He comes out first. He's the heel. See, when he used to flex his muscles and absolutely nothing would change in the look of his arms. I love that.
Arms.
I love that bit. Bossman gets the good reaction coming out as well. Obviously, he's now instantly affiliated with Hogan. And yeah, but the reaction Hogan got, it's the kind of thing that Austin was getting. It's that kind of pop. And there are definitely not many people that have ever had that.
He's so good at it. Like, he just sort of stands up the top there and takes it all in, hands on the hips and all that. It's class.
Yeah.
It's a funny match. I wonder how long it went. Another abuse of the rules for the Boss Man in this match.
There was actually quite a lot of heel behaviour by Hogan in ring.
Yep. Eye rakes.
He kept going back to the eye rakes. He did it about 3 times. They've obviously they sort of tell the story at the start of Earthquake having the power advantage. He outweighs Hogan. I think they maybe mention on commentary that Hogan had intentionally slimmed down, knowing that he couldn't compete in size with Earthquake. But yeah, there's a few instances. I've got some quite big Earthquake sympathy in the way I've written some of my notes.
Yeah, I like it. Go on.
Is
it because they turned him into a shark in WCW just automatically?
Maybe. I mean, I've got quite early. That heel bastard rakes the eyes of Quake. Hogan tries to slam Quake, but he's simply not strong enough. Quake legally going after the back like any Bret Hart performance would, pick a body part. I've got Hogan getting squashed, but gets his boot up, trying to knock Quake down a few times, but he won't go down. What a man Earthquake is. Hogan knocks down the innocent Dino Bravo and Jimmy Hart, who are just cheering on their man. Maybe I've started to go a wee bit far. Boss Man illegally getting involved. They throw in Bravo and Quake, attack them.
Do
Ref doing
this double boot stuff to both of them, don't they?
Yeah, ref doing nothing because he's a Hogan mark. Bravo and Quake slam Hogan, which he deserved. Quake drops an elbow, but it's a 2, apparently. I think that might have been a 3. Dear Lord, why is Quake going up to the top rope?
Have you ever seen anything like it?
Oh, Earthquake comes off the top with a clubbing blow to the back of Hogan.
Like a cat off the top rope. Impressive.
Earthquake locks in a Boston Crab.
Yep.
There's only one man trying to actually wrestle in this match. I've been a wee bit harsh here. Hogan takes the cheap way out by getting to the ropes. Bravo.
Imagine letting a man that size do a Boston Crab on you,
Uh,
and your reaction is to try and get up and slam him again. Absolute egomaniac, this man.
Bravo slams Hogan on the outside. Quake slams Hogan, goes for an elbow. Hogan moves. Another rake of the eyes by Hogan, goes for a slam. Quake falls on him. That was a 2. Bear hug by Quake. Illegal closed fist punches by Hogan to break it. Hogan goes for a flying body press. Quake catches him, slams him.
Hold on. You've undersold that. Have you ever seen Hogan do a flying body press?
I've not, and I've still never seen him execute one. Earthquake got the better of that.
I think he almost hit his shins with it.
He goes for a foot on the chest cover. Does Earthquake? He probably shouldn't have done that.
Come
That's
on,
it
John.
too. He starts the tremors. Earthquake. He hits the Earthquake. And then I've got Hogan's doing that thing. He's doing that. He's like spasming. It's like when you see Vince take a stunner. Quake with a second Earthquake. Hogan pushes him off this time. This is the big comeback coming now. Piper seems confused as to what's going on, even though he and I have both seen this 100 times.
Amazing.
Hogan does his hulking up routine. He gets the slam on Earthquake, goes for the leg drop, but Dino Bravo is on the apron. Boss Man gets up on the other apron rather than walking round and pulling Bravo down. That confused me a wee bit. Jimmy Hart jumps into the ring to hit Hogan. That's not going to. Jimmy Hart looks like a very light man. Hogan press slams Jimmy Hart, throws him into Earthquake, send him to the mat. Boss Man takes out Bravo. I've got loads of notes for this. I must have been quite enjoying it, even if I was being a bit playful. Earthquake drags Hogan outside. Hogan rakes the eyes. Earthquake holding Hogan. I've got. Right, I'm just being a dick now. Earthquake's holding Hogan's arms behind him, I assume to stop another eye rake from the heel. Jimmy Hart gets a bit carried away, runs in, hits Hogan with the megaphone. Hogan
Classic
moves.
squeak.
Hart hits Earthquake. Hogan slams Quake on a table that was just mysteriously set up on the outside.
Hold on. The strongest table in the world.
Oh, it didn't break, did it?
He bounces off it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's incredible.
And
yeah.
That's basically the finish. Hogan's going to win the match by count out. And then there's a few shenanigans with poor Earthquake on his back and a steel chair.
Boss Man picked up the wrong chair, I think.
Yeah,
so some step ladders or something.
I think his Quake basically got Hogan up by the throat or something like that, and Boss Man's in and hits Quake with a chair, but Quake won't let go. And Boss Man then has his nightstick. So I think Quake has decided it's maybe time to call it a day. I
Do you think they came up with the Boss Man gimmick because they realised they could do that with that nightstick, or do you think he just came up with that after he got the gimmick?
It's an impressive spin that he does with
It
it.
is, isn't it?
Like, I can't imagine ever physically being able to do anything like that. We've got I don't know how Earl Hebner's shirt got so torn. I don't have that in my notes, but it's basically torn almost off him.
I missed that.
Seen this a few times. Definitely remember seeing this with The Rock, where Hogan's going to leave, but Bossman brings him back in, gets him to
Give the people what they want.
do the posing. He seems to also, what I took issue with this, Hogan starts indicating that Earthquake's a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been a chair, there's been a nightstick. What does he want? What does he
The eye
expect?
rakes.
Yeah. So yeah,
2-on-1 action.
Hogan then poses for quite a while, and the fans are into it. The fans are there for it. They're enjoying themselves.
I would like to poll everybody that was at this event and ask and to find out how many left after this match.
Yeah.
I bet you would find that 10% of the people that were there left after this match.
I reckon as well. You know, these days when you've got your next match, your main event being a cage match, these days they have it constructed and they can lower it from the ceiling. Whereas here, there's also going to be quite a wait for the steel cage to actually be built on the ring. Yeah, I think I would have probably left.
Yeah, a relatively half decent event or spectacle.
It was entertaining and it didn't kill Earthquake. I mean, you would fully believe, in another match between the two, he could win that match. So yeah,
that stuff where I'm holding Hogan up by the neck while Bossman's railing him with that giant thing, like sold him as a monster.
Yeah.
Sean Mooney with a challenger, Rick Rude, backstage. Good promo. And he looks unreal.
Yeah.
That's all I've got. All I can see is Henry Cavill. Go on.
I think they kind of reference he's been in steel cage matches before, and Warrior hasn't. And Heenan kind of, I don't know if this is maybe for the benefit of an audience that haven't seen much in a steel cage previously. Just sort of, he does actually quite a good job of telling the story about how the match works, which I thought would help for people who hadn't seen it before.
Okay, nice. Then we got Mean Gene with Dust. And, like people talk about Dusty Rhodes and they talk about promos and they talk about the Hard Times promo. Why does nobody talk about the Emotion promo and the when you gonna do, Big Dust? When you gonna do this, Big Dust? When are you gonna do this, Big Dust? How good is this promo?
I did get a little bit confused when he talked about offering up his innocence to Sapphire. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I've got written here, when are you going to have a shower, Big Dust? He's only in a 2-minute match. He's sweating like
I wonder
Shane
if
McMahon.
He's maybe a guy that delivered like 10,000 promos, and there's some of them are absolute gold, and some of them are maybe not.
Stinkers.
Yeah.
Then we're back with Hogan. He goes on about weird stuff, all about like the history of America and all this sort of bizarre stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero mention of the Tugster.
Are they in? It's referenced a few times at Philadelphia. They're in. I think there's a lot of historical references that are made through it. He also seems to have got in my notes that he likes motorbikes. There was some in.
Imagine Eric Bischoff sitting watching that. He's like,
I've got a plan. It's going to be a
long-term
long-term plan.
Terry. And this is where he brings up there's a new demandment, and that is cheat to win or something like that. I can't remember exactly what
it must have been that. Yeah.
We then jump again. We get a pan in of the Earthquake's back, and what a mess the boss man's made of it. Big Quake's angry.
Dino Bravo's really hyped. like really hyped up here.
Wow.
I have definitely started to have enough, more than enough, of promos and backstage. I've got in my notes. I get it that they're assembling the cage, but fuck me, this show has not been well constructed.
See what you did there. That's good wordplay.
Yeah.
I like that. And just when you think you've had enough of promos, I've got, oh Jesus, here's the Warrior with Okerlund.
What's the joke? He tells a joke at the start of it. I've not written it down.
So I've not written it down. I think he says something like, what have the Liberty Bell and Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude got in common? One's cracked and the other's a ding dong.
Oh God.
And Mean Gene's like, laughing, and then Warrior just immediately stops laughing, and Gene's like, I quite like that. And then he starts, and he's hardly got any face paint on, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
Totally different from like WrestleMania 6 look.
That looked strange. Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's Kerry Von Erich. Maybe. He does say something about when the Warrior goes back up into the clouds with his. He does not say that. Then we go to Lord Alfred Hayes, and he tells us some riveting information about them constructing the cage, like you said, and he's talking about them doing it in record time and all this.
Oh God, they can't have.
The only reason that I mention this is because when Warrior comes out, he fucking climbs up it and starts shaking it like a mentalist. It looks like the thing's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
I was proper laughing at that. I was quite scunnered by this. I was quite looking forward to this match. I seem to remember there being like an epic Warrior Rude match. I think it's 89 SummerSlam. Really looking forward to this, and I just thought it was shit. Because of Warrior, mainly.
I think my favourite thing about it, I love the Rick Rude entrance. He's looking super serious, like I would want somebody who's about to fight in a cage for a title to look, but he still does his promo running down the crowd, and I knew it was coming because I had memories of him saying it, and I knew we were in Pennsylvania, and he calls them Pennsylvania pissants, and I loved that.
Now hit the music. Yes. The sexiest music of all time.
Yeah, I think that was my favourite thing about the match.
What? See when Rude came off the top of the cage and just landed on his feet?
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, that looked like you could do yourself a pretty serious injury there.
I mean, if Sid tried that, he'd be in danger. He did it a couple of times as well. The first time was a bit of a Tatanka chop type thing, but the second time he completely missed. Yeah. How did it finish? Does Warrior pin him, or did he just get out?
So I've got Warrior's doing his hulking up, clotheslines, press slams. Warrior climbs over the top. Rude is on his feet, but he's like punching thin air. Warrior does a hip thrust before dropping to the floor.
That's right. That's weird.
Yeah.
Don't be this like crazy character and then do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure. What in 1990? I'm sure 8-year-old me was like eating it up.
Yeah. I was quite into Warrior as a young kid, but almost as soon as I understood anything about wrestling, that kind of faded away.
Something I took away from this is Rude would work in any era. Like Rude would work now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. I think he was relatively young when he had to stop wrestling, I think. Had to claim his insurance policy and all that, and then hung around the major promotions but couldn't work. He was in DX for a little bit, I remember.
He was.
Did he leave after
DX?
Brett got screwed? Yeah.
So I think he went to WCW 91. I think he left quite soon after this. I think he basically sat out his contract. It's a shame. I'd quite like to look at his career because I don't, as a kid, I think I quite liked him. It's a bit weird, eh? Like an 8-year-old kid liking a hip gyrating muscle man.
He had something though. There was always something about him. And I know he ended up being like a kind of second to Mr. Perfect in WCW or Kurt Hennig in the sort of later run when I think they were affiliated with the NWO. So he was around a long time, but yeah, it's a shame he couldn't be in ring for a lot of that.
Aye, 100%. So that was us. That was SummerSlam 1990. A mixed bag.
Yeah,
That mixed bag being like 50% promos and
Yeah.
50% in
I
ring.
quite enjoy. Like I did enjoy Hogan Earthquake, even though I was being a bit playful with some of it. I enjoyed the Hearts and Demolition. That was good fun. Yeah. It wasn't a bad show. It's just I do wonder about the structure of it, and I get your champion goes on last, and I would probably always argue that your champion should go on last, but I think that's probably really difficult in an era with that Hogan, because you hear the crowd reaction he got, and
Well,
Warrior got an okay crowd reaction, but it's just not at the same level.
Aye, crowd would have been exhausted after that. They'd have been better putting on like Warlord versus Tito Santana after it or something like that, and letting the crowd
just cool them down
come
a bit.
back down. Aye,
Yeah.
says me, the Booker of the Year. So that was that. That was good fun. I thought it would have been a good idea just to go back a little bit to our childhood. I think I almost did whatever the Mania was with the blindfold match.
Okay.
That must have been around about same era-ish. Maybe that was
Yeah.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we are. What you hitting us with for episode 50?
Right. Just stay with me here.
Oh dear.
We're going to 1997.
Right.
And I know we've been in 97 a few times. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There is one reason that I would like to do this show, but what I haven't yet done is look at the rest of the card. So
we go Montreal? No.
No.
Okay.
I would like to go to Bad Blood in Your House, 1997.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the match is Shawn Michaels against The Undertaker in a steel cage.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I've never seen that match before.
Really?
Aye.
Okay. I remember thinking it was amazing, and there's also something that happens during that match.
Like, I know what happens, and I know, like, yeah, I know about Kane and all that, but I've never actually seen the match.
Okay. So that's where we're going to go. I started to worry, like, is it a really short show because it's in Your House, but it's not. It's like 2:40 or something like that.
Oh, really?
So it's yeah, because I remember they were for a while anyway in Your Houses were sort of
2-hour effort.
Yeah, but I can talk you through because I have just had a look at the rest of the card if you want to know it.
Yeah.
So, Nation of Domination, D'Lo, Kama, and Rocky Maivia are up against the Legion of Doom in a handicap match.
Oh wow! No Sunny. Oh no, she was 1988.
She'd be Max, Mini, and Nova defeated Mosaic and Tarantula.
Hey, spoilers.
Oh, sorry, against. We have a tag team title match. The Godwin,
Who's the champions there?
the Headbangers.
Wow.
Yeah. The Godwins against the Headbangers. Intercontinental title match. Owen Hart against Farouk. This is the final of a tournament for the Intercontinental Championship. So there's no champion. It's vacant at that point.
Okay.
8-man tag match. The Disciples of Apocalypse. We're going to get to see Crush again.
Yes.
Against Los Boricuas.
Name all 4 Los Boricas.
I mean, I can see them in front of me.
Oh.
The names. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Don't then.
Yeah.
Savio Vega.
That's one.
Okay.
A flag match. Bret Hart and the British Bulldog against the Patriot and the Vader.
Wow. Is the Patriot Hogan? No.
No.
It's the other guy.
Yeah.
Del
Wilkes. Yeah. And Shawn Michaels against The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell for the world title.
Brilliant.
So there was one major reason I wanted to do this, and it was the title match in the cage, because I remember watching it. I remember really enjoying it, but I can't now remember it very well, other than the appearance of Kane, the debut of Kane.
Okay, that's got to be Kane. Would you watch this live? Not live, but you know what I mean. At the time.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, I think I was back in '97. I probably was a bit out of things for maybe '94, '95, '96. I think.
When in '97 was this?
Towards the
October?
end. October. Yeah.
Just noticing there's no Austin on it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's after Owen broke his neck,
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
or was it '96? Can't remember.
I
No,
had
97,
97 in
97.
my mind. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds good. I mean, it's one of the things where I don't know, you've seen that many times. Michael's fallen off the cage.
Mhm.
That you think, do I really need to watch it? But
Yeah.
that'd be good to watch. It's a good match, you're saying.
I remember thinking it was really good. There's been so many, because at the time there hadn't been that many Hell in a Cells. I don't think it might have even been the first
It
where
was
it's
first?
referred to, as Hell in a Cell, and it's this slightly different cage. And I remember being really impressed when I saw it.
Awesome.
But there's been so many since. I'm curious to see if it still holds up as well as it did.
Awesome. Fantastic. Oh well. Ooh. Start thinking of your fan casting now for your
Yeah.
Bad
Yeah.
Blood movie.
At this time, I think as I'm watching the matches and doing my notes, I'm gonna try and do it at the time. Come up with some ideas.
I'm going to get in there very early and say Sergeant Slaughter is China. That's unfair. Sergeant Slaughter's not got that big a chin.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, we shall discuss that in 2 weeks' time. I
Cool.
look forward to that. Until next time, unplug your phone the next time we record, eh?
Yep. My bad.
Or there shall be some bad blood between us.
Yeah. I don't want to leave you on your own. You know, it was that must have been. I was trying to imagine if I would try to keep things going if you went off. But yeah, when it's the landline and knowing that I have a slight COVID issue with my dad, I thought I better check, but he's all fine.
Good. I'm glad.
It's the only person that rings the landline. It's the only person that knows the
Like the
number
bat
of
phone.
the landline.
Right, we shall speak in 2 weeks. You take
Yep.
it easy.
You too.
Cheers.